everybody in here now, so we'll get going. We've got Billy here, so let's get started with our questions for Coach. Who wants to lead us off? All right, Darnell, why don't you get going, please? Thank you.
Billy, can you start with the last offensive possession that you guys had? Did you get what you want? Could you take us through what it is you were looking for coming out of that timeout?
Yeah, I mean, the play before that, we ran a little bit of a slip-out screen to try to turn the corner and get downhill. And they did a pretty good job of taking that away. And I thought Kobe made a nice play finding Garrett. And Garrett obviously created a shot. And then after that, we just put Zach and Thad. They were really up high in pick and roll coverage and wanted to give Zach some space, especially with Thad, because Thad is such a good passer that if they did try to blitz him or trap him, we could kind of throw the ball to Thad in the middle of the floor into the pocket. And he can kind of make a play. We could kind of play 4 against 3 there. But, Zach, I thought got off and around the screen pretty well. It looked, from my view, he got off a pretty good look. I didn't have I wasn't on that side of the court, but it looked like he was able to get some space and get a pretty clean space. That's what we wanted. If he was going to be trapped, we wanted to hit that in the middle of the floor. And if he could get off the screen and create some space, we wanted him to take the shot.
And one quick follow-up for me. Can you give us any update on Otto Porter Jr.?
Just back right now. I don't know the extent of it, if it's a spasms or whatever may be beyond that, but he had to come out because of low back soreness. That's all I know right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jamal, you got the next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, Billy, I don't know where you stand on moral victories or whatnot, but, you guys competed down to the end with the wire against the defending champions. Just what do you want you guys to take away from this, from a night like this?
Yeah, I'm disappointed because it's been a great group of guys. They work hard. I think we've made some significant strides and we've made some significant progress. But there's just a lot of things that we do. And I know some of it's because of youthfulness, some of it's a lack of experience, some of it's just plain out being young, and they're going to have to go through some of this to get, to another level. But we induce a lot of this on ourselves. Like we're up by 10, they call timeout, and, we come out of a timeout and we don't generate good shots or do what we've been doing that got us a 10-point lead. We got to the free throw line in the first half one time, to their 10. We started off the third quarter playing really, really well. The foul line was a big discrepancy. We had a lot of what I would call silly fouls, guys going in the air for pump fakes, slapping down, trying to knock the ball out of guys' hands, giving up offensive rebounds, post defense, not quite disciplined enough, getting beat. Like, a lot of this stuff is self-induced. The thing that I'm most pleased about, because of what happened, I think the first Houston preseason game, and then the Indiana game, and then I'd say the Atlanta game, is when we got kind of punched, we just kind of stopped. And I think that we've gotten better competing. And you have to at least start there. And I think that's what we really have kind of really tried to stress to those guys, is the competing part. Now I think we got to start to address getting better and not kind of beating ourselves. And I'm not sitting there saying that, like, that the Lakers didn't deserve to win the game. They beat us. But there's things that we could have done a lot better that certainly impacted the game. And I told Zach at the end, with the 0.5 seconds to go, I said, it's easy for you to look at the last shot, and it took all of about 1 second to get that shot off. And there was basically another 47 seconds and 47 minutes and 59 seconds in the game that we did a lot of other stuff that had nothing to do with that shot. And we've got to do a better job throughout the course of the game. Now, the last 2.5 minutes, we're down by 7, I think, with 2:11 to go. I thought our guys did a really good job executing. Like, I felt like we generated pretty good looks and good shots and got ourselves back in the game. But I think during the course of the game, things that we did that broke momentum for us and gave it to them, we've got to get better at.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Jamal.
All right, KC, why don't you take the next question, please?
Yeah, Billy, speaking of competing, we asked you about Patrick on LeBron before the game, and at least from my vantage point, it looked like, the kid just isn't fazed by much. He moves his feet, he absorbs contact. I mean, you're never going to stop an all-world player like LeBron, but what do you think of Patrick's job on him tonight?
He did a great job. I thought, LeBron, Montrez, at times some of their guards, I thought when they started really posting in the second half, it slowed the game down for us, and we didn't get out in transition nearly as much as we did in the first half, and the game got slowed. I thought there was some things, that Patrick did a nice job. He just had really, one play where LeBron tried to get him lifted up on a shot fake, and he kind of spun back to the baseline, and Patrick reached in and fouled him. Like, you got to live with that shot with 2 seconds on the clock. And I think I said before the game, like, this is going to be a learning experience for him, going through this. But to your point, I thought he did a great job competing. I thought he really battled. He did a lot of good things out there, and, he's going to get better from a game like this.
Thanks, Billy.
Yep. Thank you.
Sam, take the next question, please.
Billy, like you said, you did finish really well. Temple had those couple of threes and came back. What were you thinking about the, so small and, also in light of Wendell being so effective, scoring probably best scoring game we've seen him in a couple of years?
Yeah, no, Wendell, I thought played a really, really good game. I just felt like, coming down the stretch, they played Montrez, who's a little bit smaller. I thought for Wendell, there was a couple times where I thought on some post-ups and some rebounds he had gotten beat, but I think Wendell was also trying to help on LeBron's post-ups. But I just thought, like, throwing that ball in the pocket, to Thad, he's really, really, I think that's where he's really, really skilled and experienced and very, very poised out there. And I think coming down the stretch, having a veteran like him was just kind of the decision I made because they were so high up in pick and roll coverage. But I do agree with you. I thought we get really good minutes from Wendell. He did a really nice job tonight.
Thanks.
Yep.
Christos, why don't you take our last question, please? Go ahead.
Hello, Coach. I would like to ask you how satisfied you are about the aggressiveness on defense tonight, and also, do you believe that this team is on the right way?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting better. I see improvement. I mean, in a lot of ways, when I think back, I mean, this is our 10th game, I think, and when I go back to the Indiana game or I go back to the Atlanta game, I mean, both of those 2 games, we weren't even in the game. We got hit, and before you know it, we're down by 25, 30 points, in some cases 40 points. And our competitive spirit and fight when that happened was really, really poor. It was really bad. And I think that we're doing a better job of that. But, that's what great teams do flat out. They compete, they get after it, and you never, ever have to worry about that. And what you're worrying about is the execution piece of it. And that's where we've got a long way to go, in my opinion, now. We've got to get better executing and building habits of how we got to play. Like, we fouled too much. I thought our closeouts on defense were not very good in terms of containing the basketball. I thought we left our feet on shot fakes. I thought offensively we were going well. And then all of a sudden we have some careless passes, or we have some careless possessions. You're not going to play perfectly, and I don't expect us to, but we can't have these long stretches. And that, I mean, our first quarter was really good. I think we scored 31 points, and then we got like to the 6 or 7 minute mark, and really almost all the way to the half in the second quarter. We just didn't play great, and it's too long. We got to be able to understand why we're not playing well. But I think our guys are aggressive. They're playing hard. They're competing. I hope I'm able to give them some confidence in terms of playing aggressively. I thought our turnovers were a little bit lower tonight than they've been in the past, but we've just got to get better on the details and the little things, and we've got to compete. And we're going to have to scratch and fight and claw for everything that we get. And I think if they can continue this competitive spirit and mindset, we'll get better. But we also got to understand there's things that we can do better and we can control better than maybe we have here these last few games.
Thank you.
Billy, it looks like we got one more question. Darnell, why don't you go ahead, please?
Yeah, Billy, I just wanted to follow up with you on the competitive factor, because it did look pretty bad those first 2 games, and you've mentioned it a couple times now how much it's turned around. You guys are missing 4 players, 3 of them were in your rotation. So in your mind, what has been the difference from the competitive standpoint for this team in these last 8 games?
You know what, Darnell, I really don't know what it is other than really addressing it, and trying to show them, like, the one thing that really stood out to me was, I just remember watching this with the guys. We were playing against Indiana, and I think we were playing pretty good basketball. Maybe we were up by like 6 or 7. Maybe we got a 6-point lead, it was as those possessions where they started to press us. We had 3 consecutive turnovers. I think Patrick turned the ball on inbounds, on made baskets. And all of a sudden the lead just shifted from, we were up 6 to down 4, timeout, their bench is going crazy. And our guys just like, were just totally defeated. And it was like in the second quarter. And like, I was like amazed, at the competitive spirit when like you're playing against another team. Like, what do you expect? Like, it's not going to be easy and you're going to have to fight. And that's what competition is. I mean, the word compete is to endure together. There was like zero endurance. There was like zero resiliency. There was like zero fight back. And I just kept talking to them about it and showed them and said, listen, like a normal NBA game, I think I mentioned this to you, Darnell, it's a 23-point swing. I mean, we were up by 10 in the first half. And then we were down by 9. It's like 19 points. Like, it's going to happen. Like, just get used to it. It's the NBA. There's good players and there's teams are going to make runs, but you got to fight and understand, okay, we turned the ball. I remember I stopped the film. I said, guys, we just turned the ball over 3 times. We did this, this, and this wrong. And with all that being said, it's a 4-point game. Like, we're not down by 50. We're down by 4 points. And, I give them a lot of credit, from the Portland game, getting down by 20. If we were down by 20 against Indiana, we just would have folded. I mean, I really respected the way they fought back and got it down to 9 at the half and then kind of got it tied up in the 4th. They just kept grinding. And even tonight, we got down by 7 and they didn't hang their heads. They kept battling with 2 minutes to go. And we got within a possession. We had the ball to go ahead with 11 or 12 seconds to go in the game. So I don't know what's turned it around or why, but I've tried to explain or educate or talk to them about like what competition is and how you have to respond to the adversity and why adversity is good. And, I don't know if it's helped or not, but we've certainly have talked about it a lot.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, Billy, that's all we got for you tonight. So thanks for your time.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone.